These are the instruments which will give you a 3D topography and 2D topography. And initially you can see this is the roughness. So this is called a roughness graph because this was measured on the top surface. So you will get this type of waviness. So if you get a second step, that means if you apply some chemicals and rub with that surface, you will reduce that. So it is reduced to this much. And further you do some finishing, it can be reduced further. So if you get this type of graph, its roughness is 28 nanometer. Right? So that is the way you can get a finishing. Now consider a very, very big amount of objects. Because you know that there are a lot of satellite images, right? Satellite will give you some images like where is the rain is happening, if there are clouds, you will get some type of images. So how to get those images? Because satellite is not directly connected with the wire because it is a completely separate. So that means there is something on the earth which will catch those images. Right? So satellite will take some picture, but how to transfer that picture to the person who is sitting here? So there are lot of big astronomical mirrors. So these are the bottom side, if you can see, these are the astronomical mirrors. And you can see what is the size. So these are the person standing near the mirror. And this is the size. You can see it is in meter size, even as big as this room. And the quality of that particular images which are captured, it depends on what is the roughness of those mirrors. If it is very, very rough, you will get very, very blurred images. You will not get a actually clear picture. So how to finish such a big mirrors? Small images, it is very easy because now size is very small and we are confident that we can finish with a single go. But consider mirror size is this much amount of big room. And you want uniform finish because suppose you measure at that location, you want to measure this location, both areas should be same. Right? So it is a big task. And there is not only there is a roughness, you want to create a shape also because these mirrors are actually concave shapes. Shape is something like this. So when you finish this part, this thing should not become like this, flat or. So you have to maintain the figure also and you have to remove the roughness. So there are two objectives. If you consider this is the thing, so this is called figure. Figure means it is a big area, and when you see roughness, roughness is something very, very small on this surface. So you have to remove this thing without disturbing this particular object. Right? So there are processes. So this is also one of the process. You can say this is a tool which is finishing this component. So there are different type of slurry available, very, very fine particles, and you have to completely pour on this surface, and then this particular tool will randomly move to the surface and you will get this type of mirrors. These are called synchrotron mirrors. Synchrotron mirrors, suppose you want to transfer light from one location to another location at 90 degree. So what we are doing, we are putting one mirror at 45 degree, light comes like this and then it will reflect 90 degree to different location. Right? But when you measure a cross section of that, it is circular, and when it will strike and when it will go at that time, there is a different type of blurring. You will not get directly same image as this because that depends upon which type of mirror you are using. What is the roughness of this mirror? If this mirror is rough, what will happen? Some particular rays will come here, some will go like, some will go like that. If it is a completely flat, at that time only you can get a exact replica of the mirror or exact transmission of the rays. Otherwise it is not possible. So these are the mirrors which are used to guide the lights, guide the laser beam, X-ray beam, ion beam to get a different type of objects. Right? So this is also one thing I am not going to cover. And now coming to on the interesting process. So now there is one object, you consider a bottle. This is a bottle. Now you have drilled two holes, one hole at some degree at here, another hole at some degree at here. So this both hole will intersect with each other inside. So you know that when you are drilling some hole, at that time there are a lot of burrs at the bottom surface and some of the burrs on the top also. And those burrs are very easy to remove because both surfaces are open. Right? So you can use some type of brush also, you can do anything. But you consider there is an intersection inside the hole, inside the body. So, so this is an object of a diesel fuel injection nozzle. Right? So you consider this particular diameter is a 1 mm and this is a nozzle. So this nozzle is actually spraying a fuel inside a diesel engine. Right? So we have to finish this thing in such a way that there is a uniform flow throughout the system inside the diesel engine. And you consider this is the hole which is mostly drilled by a EDM machine or laser beam, and because of that you will get this type of surfaces. But you want this thing. You have to remove all the things. So which process we should use? Right? And there are dies also. So these are called dies. So inside the surface should be very smooth. Otherwise the metal which is extruding through this die, at that time its roughness is very, very high. So you have to apply some additional process. So this is the process which is used for finishing of all these type of components. Inside, outside, whatever with the smaller side, even 1 mm diameter of a hole to 100 mm depth, it can be finished by this process. But the condition that it should be through. It should not be blind hole. Right? So whatever things are there, we will show you, I will show you some of the things. So what is the principle of that? You consider a mud. Right? And then you are flowing mud through a particular hole. So it will go through, when you are pushing through something, at that time it will take the shape of that. Suppose there are 2-3 channels, then you are pushing a mud from a one location. So it will go wherever it will find a passage. And ultimately it will come out of that holes. Suppose there is a one hole, this is the location. So this is a big hole, and there are 5 different type of channels. So when I am pressing through this, at the time, very small amount of quantity will pass through this all 5 locations. And these muds are very, very stiff. That means it has some abrasive particles, sand particles, so it will abrade with this surface because of the pressure. So when you are drilling this hole, at that time, wherever there is a burrs and everything, all the small quantity will be completely removed. That is called abrasive flow machining. So you are flowing abrasive particles through a small amount of channels. Now see, this is an object, and these are the small holes. You see these dark black colors. So these are the holes. And this is the pipe. You consider this is the pipe carrying mud. Right now we are just telling mud, but that mud contains lot of particles, small abrasive particles, very hard particles, along with some type of liquid things. We are connecting with here, and then we are pressurizing. Very, very high pressure. I mean, you consider around 16 bar or something. It is extremely high pressure. Right? So what will happen now? Now let us go inside. So now this is the slurry, yellow color is the slurry. So when you are pressing, it will find that where are the passages. So it will just go through these passages, right? Then it will come out with this. So this is the way it is coming out. So if you continue this for a long time, you can see these are the abrasive particles and everything. So it is completely removed inside material. So it is impossible to achieve that thing, right? If you put anything inside, everything will be stuck out, and you don't know how to get the things inside. Yeah. So what is the first objective of this? That it is mostly built for finishing of internal components. So now problem is that suppose you have finished, but you don't know whether it is finished or not, because you consider a 2 mm hole and it is extending to a 10 mm, and there is intersection between it. So we don't know even whether it is finishing or not. So what people are doing before attempting on actual component, they are doing this thing for a particular sample component. With size, shape, everything is same, but material can be different and it can be collapsible. So initially they replicate that process whether it is working or not, but 100% it is working for each and everything. But only problem is the selection of abrasive particles and at which pressure you are finishing. So if you consider that particular body as a plastic body, plastic is soft material. So you don't need much pressure. Another thing, you can use a ordinary particle also. But you consider titanium alloy, at that time the hardness is more. Another thing, it is a metal. So you have to use diamond particles. Diamond particles are available, 1 micron or something, so people are using that also. But it cost increases with the different type of components. How many holes are there, that is also matters, and how deep are there. So another thing, how to measure the roughness is all the things inside. That is not possible.
So through this method we can map the tolerances inside?
That is possible. I will show you some components here. You will find that it is extremely difficult to get other than this process. So that is one. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is one of the filter. Now consider there is a big cylinder and there are thousands of holes radially drilled inside. And now you have to finish all the holes. Because if you do one by one, it takes a lot of time. So this is the process. Now you can see this is the hole. So now you are pressing from the bottom portion and this things is coming out of this. So everything inside in a single go you can finish all the components. But this is the industry, ready-made machines are available by Kena Metal and Extrudon. So these are the, so this particular, this is called a media that consists of abrasive particles and rubber-like things, which will deform itself and take the shapes, right? And what are the example of this process? So these are the things. On the left side, these are the component without finishing. On the right side, it is made after finishing by this process. This first figure, top figure, is the turbine blades. The first figure, it is done by a milling machine. So you will find the milling marks. So these all things are milling marks. So you have to remove this. So you are putting this. So this is the final. So this is the internal pipe surface, and this is the after finishing. And this is also same thing. So these are actually the casted bodies. So there are different type of uneven shapes, and you have to finish this. So you will get this type of finishing. So these are the application of this process where none of the process is possible other than this. This is the only process which is used right now for making different type of objects. Then coming to bearings. So balls are circular. So first thing coming to mind, how to hold the ball. Right? When you do finishing operation, you have to hold something. But this is a circular object, and you have to finish all area, because if you hold like that, so that particular part is not come into contact with any media. So only thing that you finish this thing, then you rotate, and then you finish. And that is not in our control, because we don't know which component we have hold and which component we are rotating. Right? So there are random processes available which will finish the things. So mostly it is done by a lapping process. So we put this type of balls inside the two plates, and then we rotate this plate. So because of the rotation, this ball get uniformly finished. So there is another type of process that is called ceramic balls, because right now ball bearings mostly are the stainless steel grade and all these things. But ceramic balls are very, very lightweight, and its strength is higher than the stainless steel. And those things are non-magnetic, because if you are using in some type of electromagnet or something, these particular bearings are actually prone to get stick because of the magnetic field. So that is the reason we are using a ceramic balls, and that are extremely powerful compared to this. So this is the process called magnetic float polishing. So here the magnets are located here, and this slurry is magnetic slurry. So wherever there is a magnet, this slurry will try to come into contact with this magnet because of the magnetic particles. And this is called one type of a float. Float is one type of abrasive plate. So this abrasive plate will float because these particular particles will come into contact, and we are putting this type of balls in between that two. And then we are rotating this shaft. So the balls located here, it will be finished here, and finished here. And then it will randomly rotate also. So you will get different type of very, very high finishing on the balls. It is a circular object, spherical objects. It is not a different type of cylinder or it is specifically made for spherical objects. Right? Now coming to a silicon wafer, because this is the backbone of electronic industry. If you want to create any electronic circuit, you need silicon. Yeah.
I want to ask you, in the surface finish, let's say in the bearing, like the internal surface it's a highest surface.
Yeah. Internal surface of races.
Yes. Internal surface of bearing.
Yeah.
The shafts were connected, right?
Yes.
Right. So now is there any gradation between the surface finish that proves that this is highest level of surface finish, or this is the medium level of surface finish, or so this is only the touch process, or it's any testing equipments or any testing methodologies are there which prove that this is now which we have reached the highest level of surface finish?
Yeah. So there are three different type of instrument which will measure the roughness. Okay. So one is suppose this is the table, so its roughness is very, very high. So it is not necessary to use the machine which is measuring nanometer roughness, because anyhow we know the roughness is in micron level, right? So here what happens, there are touch type or stylus type instrument available. So there is a stylus something like that, and it will scratch this surface, and the stylus there is a diamond edge at the bottom, and this particular you consider like this. So this particular edge is a 2 micron, 1 micron to 2 micron. So its sharpness is like that. So wherever it will find a valley or the roughness more than 2 micron, it will go inside and it will just jump like this. So when it will jumping like this, there is an electrical connection here. So this arm will move in between the electrical poles here. So at the center at the time it is at the 0 position. So you will not get any type of deflection in the voltage signal. But when it will move like this and its resolution is angstrom level, 0.1 nanometer, that much amount of deflection you can measure. So where there is a deflection, it will give you one curve. So curve I have shown you that different, that curve is measured by a contact type. So there are different type of samples. Suppose there is a biological sample. When it is coming into contact with any object, it will destroy that thing. So you cannot use contact type there. So you need some type of non-contact type. So there is called an interferometer. What interferometer does? It will actually strike a laser beam at the surface, right? And suppose this is the surface. This is the surface. So there is a laser light coming on the top surface, and there is a receiver at this side. So when the surface is completely flat, at that time there are 4 diodes. It is called position sensitive diode. So 4 diodes, and when it is striking that time, at that time it will be reflected to this location. So if it is located at the center of the 4 diode, that means your rough surface is completely flat. And when it is striking to one diode, at that time this instrument tells you that what is the peak of that. If the peak is on the positive side, at that time it will create a different type of fringe pattern. So wherever there is a reflection, depending upon the position of that reflection, it will measure a roughness. But accuracy is extremely high because the beam is a less than 1 micron. But it cannot actually give a exact profile of the surface which is considering by a stylus, because it is actually physically coming into contact. So there are different type of advantages and disadvantages depending upon your sample, depending upon the feature you can actually use those things. I am going to cover, so there are 2-3 slides for that also.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah. Okay, oh, thank you.
From
Yeah.
GTU, that's why we are just.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So let us consider this silicon wafers first. Right? So silicon wafers are made of a sand. You consider any sand available at the seashore or those, all the silicon, all are made from the silicon. So that is the raw material of silicon. Because its main ingredient is SiO2, silicon, it is called silica. So raw material is abundant available, but we need purity of a part per billion. If you select a 1 billion part, there should be only one defect out of that particular thing, right? So there are different type of process sequence. So let me go through it quickly. So this is, first step is the sand. You take any sand, then you have to purify it. So you have to heat up that thing, you have to remove all the impurities out of it, carbon, oxygen, everything. You are coming to a metallurgical grade. So that metallurgical grade is 99.7% pure silicon.